All right, so now we're going to look at shifts. So a shift is a change in the tone, action, rhythm, stanza, diction, line length. So pretty much just a change in the way the poem was functioning before. The way I think about it. So the identity, you need to identify any shifts and explain them. We kind of already got into this when we talked about tone, so I'll review that a little bit more. And then how does the shift affect the poem? So let's keep going. So if we look at our poem, Identity, one of the biggest shifts that you'll see is that positive to negative shift when he's talking about the flowers, and that negative to positive shift from when he talks about the weeds. So there's a shift in tone, which when we are talking about the tone, I told you guys, helped me understand that he was rebellious or cynical because he was taking good things and making them bad. But he was also rebellious because he was taking bad things and idolizing them or making them good. So are there any shifts? I would say positive to negative, vice versa in tone. And then my next look would be, okay, what about in the line length and in the stanzas? So if you notice, all of that is pretty much the same. So he has those two short introductory stanzas where he talks about flowers, and then he gets into the more longer stanzas and then he finishes off. So there is a structure here that is consistent. So there is no shift. It's not like all of a sudden he went from short to long, and then chopped it back down again, or went from long to choppy. There's clearly a structure here. Introduction, explanation, conclusion type deal. So there's no shift in that. If I read the rhythm, and you notice, I told you guys before, the best way to pick up on rhythm is to look at your punctuation. So when you look at the punctuation, you can see that he let them be as flowers, always watered, fed, guarded, admired. There's that listing there that creates the rhythm. And then if I keep looking, he very much so breaks up his lines with commas to cause pauses. On the longer ones, on the longer stanzas, here's a fancy poetry word for you. He uses enjambments, which is where he doesn't actually finish the line. So where you see it says to feel exposed to the madness of the vast eternal sky, he is making it, even though that line ends, he's continuing the line into the next one, so there's no pause for breath. He does that here, and then he does that almost that same structure on the next one. Plus he has this lovely parallelism with praised, handled, plucked, tall, ugly. So he uses, well, sorry, that's not parallelism. Praised, handled, plucked is parallelism, as well as, there's another spot, but I can't find it now. Bless. So he is consistent in his rhythm. So the big shift is right here in his tone. So that'd be the only one. So how does the tone affect the poem? So how does the shift affect the poem? I would say the shift in this poem affects the tone and mood and then I would say the speaker takes positive and finds a way to turn them negative Okay, so that is takes positive. So there you go. Let me fix all my typos. So our shift in this poem affects the tone. So the speaker will take the positives and find a way to make them negative. And the same for bad things, he makes them good. And so you get that it creates, you would have to go say, it creates a cynical outlook on what everyone else considers to be a positive, what everyone else associates with positive connotations, or what everyone else would have positive connotations with, associates as positive. So that would be how you explain the shift. So you can think the shift is a backwards approach to tone, because a lot of times those two things will go together. Because being able to recognize those shifts help you understand the tone. But let's say you were analyzing and you're having a hard time with tone, go and skip ahead and look at shifts. And then that way, if you can see those, that might help you go back and fix the tone. So that's the cool thing about TPCASTT, is it does offer some flexibility in the way you can think. But it's really good to think about, okay, now that I have the tone, where's that tone coming from? And how is he creating the tone? Because that actually really does line up extremely well with questions that you'll be asked on your end of grade test at some point.